everyone. Thank you for making your way out on this, although not as snowy and blustery as we thought it would be. But it's good. So thank you for coming on out here and enjoying our production as we've been working hard to present to you. We are well in our 13th season, and we're so excited. So, a little side note. Honestly, when we started this 13 years ago, we had no idea this was going to even work the first time. And it just keeps coming up. And then at one point, I think it was around the 9th season, just started running out of ideas. There's no more shows to do. That's it. Are we kidding? There's tons, including today. So, welcome once again to those thrilling days of yesteryear. A live recreation of some of your favorite shows from the golden age of radio. And today, we bring you the world of mystery, the underworld, betrayal, intrigue, suspense, the playground of the detectives, both hard-boiled and soft-boiled, which was a term that referred to the different styles of solving a crime. Now, Nero Wolfe was one of the greatest detectives in literature, featured in novels and short stories by Rex Stout from 1934 until Stout's death in 1975. The innovation of Wolfe was the marriage of the armchair detective types, such as Sherlock Holmes or Hercule Poirot, never pronounced that one. The French guy, you know.
He's not French, he's Belgian.
He's Belgian. Good night, everybody. The Belgian detective, Hercule Poirot, the Belgian, with hard-boiled detectives like Sam Spade and Philip Marlowe. Now, Stout's fantasy ideal movie pairing was with Charles Laughton playing Wolfe and Humphrey Bogart as Archie. Wolfe was considered to be refined, literate, and brilliant. Pat Novak was not. Created by Jack Webb and Richard Breen, Pat Novak for Hire was about this guy. He was never really officially identified as a detective, who solves crimes on the San Francisco waterfront with bulldog determination, 2 beefy fists, and a bad attitude. With its overripe similes, Novak was definitely a two-fisted He-Man comedy. It was intentionally overblown and ridiculous. Camp, 15 years before the Batman show aired on television. So, we will do these 2 shows for you now, as they aired, way back in the golden age, complete with music, sound effects, gunshots, and even a horse or 2. Now, while you're listening, you might imagine that you are sitting in the studio audience, anxiously awaiting for your favorite performers to do your thing, or to do their thing. Or you might just want to imagine that you're sitting in the old living room, in front of the Philco radio, anxiously awaiting for your favorite show to begin. So join us now as we take you back to those thrilling days of yesteryear. Ladies and gentlemen, the American Broadcasting Company brings to its entire network one of radio's most unusual programs. Pat Novak for Hire. Sure, I'm Pat Novak for Hire. That's what the sign out in front of my office says. Pat Novak for Hire. You gotta put it in block letters because down in the waterfront in San Francisco, there's a price tag on everything. You gotta do that or marry a rich widow. I don't like to work that hard, so I rent boats. I do anything else that's cash and carry. Oh, it's alright if you don't mind trouble, because that's one thing that you can't duck. It's like trying to dance in a minuet and skis. And the best trouble always looks good from the outside. We're all smiles and feel like a kid opening a hand grenade under the Christmas tree. I found that out Tuesday night. It was around 7 o'clock. I was getting ready to close the office when this little guy showed up. He was about the size of a golf bag with arms. And if he had a cigar box, he could see over a pool table. He walked up to the desk and started talking in a voice that made you think he was trying to put Lily Pons out of work. Hello!
You know that?
You're doing all right so far. What's on your mind?
Well, I'm Jackie Gregg. You heard of me, huh?
You're the shy type, I know.
I'm Jackie Gregg the jockey. You heard of me, huh?
All right, now I heard of you. Put the show on the road.
I'm looking for a horse. You want to find me a horse?
Yeah, breed him in the back room. What color do you want?
You're so tough. I gotta take that from you.
Calm down before you wind up in a boys' choir. If you got anything to sell, put it on the line or beat it.
I'm riding a horse tomorrow called Fleet Lady. She's disappeared.
She's not here.
Well, I'm supposed to ride her in the 6th race with her tomorrow in the Bonanza Handicap, and she's gone.
All right, she's gone. Maybe your horse likes to go out at night. I haven't seen her. Get to the point.
Well, I'll give you $200 to find that horse. Somebody took her in a van. I trailed him here to the waterfront.
But you lost him up at the ferry building.
That's right. Something's funny's going on. My mount disappeared, and you gotta find her.
This is a big waterfront, and where's my $200?
Yeah, I'll get that all right. Down by Pier 19, the van turned in. You think you can find Fleet Lady?
I know. Who owns her?
Woman named Sybil Thornton. She's mixed up, I think.
Yeah, why steal your own horse?
I don't know. Run a ringer, maybe.
That's a tough trick.
This woman's got some good ones. You want the $200?
Yeah, how are the odds?
What's the difference? You're gonna open a book? You better take the $200 now.
Yeah, the dough will keep. You sound frightened, Junior.
And you sound nosy. Here's the $200. I want you to find the horse. You let me know at the Kingston Hotel, huh?
Sure.
If you don't find anything around the waterfront, maybe you better try the track. Ask around there.
Yeah, by the way, how do you fit in? How come you got $200 interest in that horse?
Maybe I love horses. What do you care if maybe I love horses?
I don't. A guy like you has got to love something. Well, it was a real sweet proposition. A jockey in search of a horse. There was something phony about the whole thing. I had the $200, but I didn't feel good. It was like a guy stealing a murder gun to help out in the scrap metal drive. Well, after the little guy left, I closed the office and started to hit the docks, but it didn't work out. You can buy good whiskey these days, so you feel funny walking up to some guy on a pier and asking, "Have you seen a racehorse around here, mister?" Well, by 9, I was sure the horse wasn't around, so I borrowed a car and drove out to the track. I found out where Sybil Thornton's horses were quartered and headed down that way. It was pretty dark, so when I bumped into her, all I got was a vague outline. She had a good-looking vague outline.
Oh, I'm very sorry.
Yeah, I'm full of regrets too. Shall we try it again?
Aren't you a little mixed up on your animals? They keep horses here.
You don't seem to mind.
You lean nicely, but you probably feel safer with a platform.
Yeah. Well, we'll try this again when I've had 3 good meals. That's a horse.
Yes, I know. In fact, I own her.
I see. That'd make you Sybil Thornton.
Yes. What would it make you?
A guy named Pat Novak looking for a horse. I was hired on the waterfront to find her.
My, they grow big on the waterfront. You must get a lot of sun. By the way, is Fleet Lady missing?
Your jockey says she is. That's why I'm snooping around.
Didn't know he had any friends.
He's got a checkbook. How about Fleet Lady? Is she tucked in bed?
Yes.
Well, let's take a look, huh?
You'll find it very dull, Mr. Novak.
Yeah, that's what they said to Anthony. Let's see the horse.
Suit your health yourself. She's down this way.
Okay.
I'm doing this out of the bigness of my heart. I think you're wasting my generosity, Mr. Novak.
Don't use it all this trip.
It's from the stable. Come on. Down here. Fleet Lady stall. Here, there's a flashlight on the wall.
All right.
Oh, poor thing.
Do horses die broke too? Who is it? Fleet Lady?
Yes. Are you satisfied?
No. I'm gonna ring up headquarters.
You crazy?
Then I'm gonna call Jackie Gregg and tell him his hunch paid off.
I wouldn't do that, Mr. Novak.
Stop kidding me, sweetheart. She didn't get killed in a fight with another horse. Greg figured somebody was tilting the machine. That's why Fleet Lady's dead. That's why I'm gonna call headquarters.
Suit yourself. But remember what happened to Fleet Lady.
You getting tough, Angel?
No. You just wouldn't look good with a saddle, Mr. Novak.
Well, I watched her as she turned and walked out of there. It was the kind of walk that makes you flip the calendar and find out how far away spring is. I looked around a while, but it didn't do any good. The place was full of doors, so whoever killed Fleet Lady got away easy, like a rumor at a church picnic. I closed the door and went down the line to call headquarters. As I stood there talking, I saw Sybil Thornton drive away. It was a long convertible with red asbestos seat covers. After I called headquarters, I went back and waited near the stable. About a half hour later, a police car pulled up, and when I saw who got out, I began to get unhappy, like a three-legged man in a ballet school. It was Hellman from Homicide, and he had his squad with him.
Hello, Novak. Where's your trainer?
Your boys get paid to laugh at you, I don't.
Yeah, where's the horse?
What are you doing on the case?
I came for the ride. You mind, Novak?
Nah, I just wondered if they wised up downtown.
Huh?
Because you could find a dead horse, Hellman. If they staked it out in the middle of Market Street, you'd find it before long.
I'll try this time. Where is it?
Stall 18 over there.
Yeah. Keep an eye on it, boys. I'll be back in a minute. In here, Novak?
Yeah, the one with the teeth like yours.
You better shut up, Novak.
Don't get jumpy. You haven't seen the horse.
Just shut up, huh?
Yeah, it wasn't going to be much of a conversation anyway.
What color horse was that, Novak?
What do you mean? Take a look at it.
Yeah, I did. I just took a look. It's a smart horse, Novak.
What?
That's right. That dead horse in there is wearing a double-breasted suit.
When I got the message straight, I walked in and took a look. Jackie Gregg was lying there on the floor as dead as last year's love. The sickness didn't show until we rolled him over on his stomach. Somebody had gone duck hunting in the middle of his back. I began to feel a little sick myself, and I was ready to send out for the same gun when Hellman started to
You
talk.
forgot to mention the guy when you phoned headquarters.
He wasn't there. I was in here before and that guy wasn't around.
What was he doing under the horse?
I don't know, Hellman. Maybe he crawled out of a crack. I don't know. There
Yeah.
were 2 shots. I came in and found the horse.
Ah,
Check the horse.
we're trying to tell me the horse shot back? Who is he?
A guy by the name of Jackie Gregg. He gave me $200 to find a missing horse.
Yeah?
A horse called Fleet Lady running in tomorrow's handicap. This is the end of the line.
How do you know it's the same one?
I don't. Maybe you gotta be a horse to tell. Why don't you ask one of your boys? Ah! Yeah, your boy's real tough. Call him off, Hellman.
He's nasty. We all hate him, Novak.
It's all right. I'll put it on your bill, Hellman.
That's good. You can write it up in headquarters.
Hellman, you ought to rent an idiot. The heavy thinking's too much for you.
I can piece this together. We come out here and find a dead man with you kicking up dust 40 feet away.
Look, Hillman, I didn't kill the guy and call up headquarters. I know they're bad in homicide, but I'm not that big-hearted.
We got a spare hook for you, Novak. That's where you stay until somebody gets you off.
Well, you can start out with Sybil Thornton.
Another horse?
She's the speed for it. Look her up. She owns Fleet Lady, and she was dancing around here in the dark, playing easy to get.
I'll look her up.
You better leave the boys behind. After all, she's only a woman. When you see her, ask her about that van down in the waterfront, and what she was doing before I made that phone call.
I'll tag all the bases. Don't worry, Junior. And if things fit together, you'll both be in the jug. I'll see you later. I got work to do.
Yeah, it's getting late. You better put the boys back in the cage. I began to worry after Hellman left. There was no murder gun, and he didn't have too much to go on. But there was no one else wanted my job. I knew the girl was going to have an alibi, and I was the last guy Jackie Gregg had seen. I had about as much chance as a fat girl at Princeton prom. Hellman didn't like me, and he was a smart cop with a disposition like a ton of rhubarb. Well, I had to start right from scratch. I felt like Adam the first morning he woke up. So I looked up a guy named Jocko Madigan, an ex-doctor and a boozer who would give you a lift if you show him where the stirrups are. He's a good guy, but he thinks all food makes a gurgle. I hit all the bars and finally found him at Maggie Nielsen's apartment. She's a good-looking voice that lives up on the hill, and Jocko was working his way into her liquor supply.
Hello, Patsy! You're just in time for me to join me for my first drink of the evening. Or one of the first, at least.
Yeah, I see.
Maggie's not here, but I found her whiskey. It was in plain sight, locked in the closet under some newspapers.
All right, Jocko. When are you going to sober up?
Oh, I plan to do it briefly on April 1st, when the rest of the world plays the fool also.
Look, I'm in trouble, Jocko. You gotta help me.
Good! I've got a special bottle I use to forget your troubles.
Now look, stop caressing that jug and listen to me. I'm in a jam.
Patsy, there's nothing in nature so sad as a half-empty bottle. It's like a broken vow or an unfulfilled promise in the skies. A falling star, almost.
All right,
a
Jackie.
falling star, and you shrug it off, never realizing that a whole world has ended at that moment.
Yeah.
100 million dreams, maybe, and you watch it fall and make an asinine wish. That's all the good it does is start to fall. Gives some kid a chance to wish for a bicycle.
You all finished now, Jocko?
Yes. What kind of trouble? Anything I could aggravate?
I mixed up out at the track. A guy by the name of Jackie Gregg is dead, and I don't look good.
Nothing?
Yeah. The guy's a jockey, and he hired me to find a horse named Fleet Lady.
Did you?
The horse and the jockey ran a dead heat. But there's something funny about the whole deal.
Did you talk to the jockey?
No, not enough.
Oh, Patsy, you've got to break yourself with the habit of waiting until people are dead before you think of a question.
Jocko, I want you to hit all the horse rooms. Find out what you can about the 6th race tomorrow. It's the Bonanza Handicap. Now hurry, will you?
Well, if it's the 6th race, why can't we wait a while?
Start now. Get everything you can and call me. I'll leave a message at your place.
Where are you going?
I don't know, maybe you have to see the girl.
Oh, Patsy, you're going to be waving at the hangman's wife when they spring the trap door.
I gotta see her. She owns Fleet Lady.
Well, why don't I see her?
She's got a stake somewhere, and I've got a lot of questions. What could you do up there?
Ah, yes. If it weren't an academic question, I'd argue the point.
It looked like a bum deal right from the start.
Patsy, you have the instinct for recognizing trouble, but not the intelligence to duck it.
Save your breath, will you?
You're like a man walking under a scaffold on a building. You realize it may crash down and kill you, but instead of hugging the building where you can't get hurt, like every other dope, you scurry for the edge of the sidewalk where you're bound to get hit if it falls.
Jocko, will you get to those horse parlors? I need facts, not fables. Now give me a hand.
All right. Give my love to Fleet Lady.
Her name's Sybil Thornton.
I'll bet I'm not far wrong. Good night, lover.
After I left Jocko, I went to the Chronicle morgue and looked up the NBC program director, Paul Stengel. We pulled up the clips on Sybil Thornton. They were nice and fat because she'd been to Reno 4 times and hadn't broke training for years. She'd been traded around more than a Red Sox pitcher. The clipping said she was 32. Well, there were a lot of pictures, and from her eyes, you got the idea she was around 35. But there were arguments the other way, too. Well, there weren't any stories on her for the last few months. Just a few items from the columns. And they all said the same thing. She was hitting the night spots with a gambler named Rudy Hauser. There are pictures of him, too. He would have looked good in a cave with heavy curtains. I asked Paul. He said Hauser had a gambling place out on Geary. So I took a cab out there. For $10, the guy at the door said Sybil Thornton had left the place an hour ago. That made me feel good. When Hauser opened the door to his office, I lost the glow.
Yeah? What do you want?
I got a problem.
You got the wrong door.
You can't get any tougher, so I'm coming in.
Suit yourself. I never throw anybody out until I'm sure they've lost all their money. What's on your mind?
A horse named Fleet Lady. She disappeared at 7 o'clock tonight.
Oh, you look under the rug. I'll try the cabinet.
She got back just in time to greet somebody's gunsel.
If I say no, will you go out and lose your money like a good boy?
Fleet Lady was owned by a gal named Sybil Thornton. The columns say you're number 5 on her list.
Oh, they never lie. The whiskey's too good.
Also, a little bird says she was in your office an hour ago.
That's right. She said your name's Novak.
Yeah.
Next time you go out on a bombshell, give it a test run.
With Fleet Lady dead, your money's gonna look real good in the 6th tomorrow.
What makes you think the gal would throw a race?
For the same reason she goes out with you.
Huh?
When a gal takes a great dame like you out in public, it generally means the guy's a few bucks ahead of her.
You want to fight the team now, Novak? You just remember, sometimes you can't be right, and a gentleman too.
Yeah, I hope you feel the same when they pick you up for the Jackie Gregg's murder.
Huh?
Yeah, you do a real nice double take, mister. The jockey checked out with the horse.
I didn't know that, Novak.
Yeah, with no brains, you built this gambling club.
I didn't know he was dead. If I told you that, Novak, I'd have meant it. He was all right for a little punk. Sorry he's dead.
So's he. I'll see you later, Hauser. I gotta nose around and find out where you were tonight.
Yeah? You seem all right, Novak, so I'll tell you. If you got any dough left when you leave my tables, bet it on a horse named Fleet Lady in the 6th race tomorrow.
You always bet on a dead horse.
You got the tip. Use it or bury it, but don't loan it out.
The case was a regular grab bag when I walked out of Hauser's office. I began to tick off the things that didn't add up. First on the list was that van down on the waterfront. If it was Fleet Lady, who got shot in the stable? If it was the ringer, that meant Fleet Lady would run tomorrow. I couldn't figure out why Hauser was so sure she'd win. An idea kept racing around in the back of my mind like an ant in a cookie factory. Jackie Gregg lied about that van down on the waterfront, but why? Not to bail me out of the poorhouse with $200. Well, I got part of the answer when I stopped at a pay telephone and called Hellman.
Yeah? Hellman talking.
This is Novak. I got some news.
You have to put it on the back page.
What do you got?
Your friend Jackie Gregg had some love lot.
Oh, maybe there's a chance for you, Hellman. Who's the girl, Sybil Thornton?
Yeah, we found her picture in his wallet. The gooey kind.
I'll bet you stole it for long train rides. What time you die?
The right fit for you between 9 and 10 o'clock. 2 shots from a .32 caliber pistol.
How about the horse?
45 caliber.
2 people. Let's get involved.
Maybe, maybe not. You got 2 hands, Novak.
Look up a guy named Rudy Hauser. He's got a joint out on Geary Street.
I got enough friends. You look him up.
I did. He's still talking about Fleet Lady in tomorrow's race.
All right, maybe sentimental. Look, Novak, I'll pick out my own work. I don't need free help from you. Jackie Gregg paid $200 and look what he got.
Suit yourself, but Rudy Hauser and that gal are close friends.
Yeah?
Like two-part harmony in a telephone booth. Get off the dime, Hellman. Hauser's got that gal in his hip pocket. She owns Fleet Lady and he's betting her to win.
You're trying hard, Novak.
It's gotta be a slow field to lose to a dead horse. Wake up, Hellman. You couldn't smell a rat in a basement full of cheese.
I did all right in your apartment.
What?
That .32 caliber pistol, we found it in your place. See you later.
Well, I wasn't too worried about that. Hellman's smart enough to know a phony plant. I began to think about the .32 caliber pistol. It's a woman's weapon. Well, that doesn't prove anything. So's a bread knife if she's in a bad mood. It must have been about midnight when I got to Sybil Thornton's place. She was wearing black lounging pajamas, tied tight around a slim waist. She looked like a wasp with a nice sting, and she had company.
Come in, Mr. Novak.
Yeah.
Mr. Novak, this is Ronnie Stark.
Hello, Novak.
Yeah.
Oh, he's not very friendly, Sybil.
He's just pouting because they're going to arrest him for Jackie's murder.
How do you like Hellman?
You've known him longer.
Yeah, somebody left a murder gun up at my place. Where have you been all night?
Please, Mr. Novak. You're embarrassing Ronnie.
That's right. I'm blushing, and it's not the whiskey, Novak.
I see.
You must stay longer, Ronnie.
She's persuasive, huh, Novak? See you tomorrow.
You won't forget Ronnie?
No, I won't forget. I'm betting on you, Novak.
What won't he forget?
Oh, Mr. Novak. I hope nobody ever asks you that question.
You don't want to talk about putting that gun in my apartment.
No.
Let's talk about Rudy Hauser then.
Huh?
Your meat grinder friend. We just had a good talk and he opened up a new road.
What'd you tell him?
Don't break a spring, he's all right.
Will you do me a favor, Patsy?
Like not talking about Hauser anymore, huh?
That's right. It won't do you any good, Patsy. And it'll do me a lot of good.
How's he gonna know which horse got killed? I'll bet you lied to him, Angel.
It's my apple cart, Patsy. Leave it alone.
Sure. But play your hand right, baby, because I'm gonna watch your cards. And if you got one that says Jackie Gregg, I'm gonna call you the hard way.
Patsy, you nice beast. I really think you would.
Yeah.
Sit down.
Okay.
A drink?
No,
Do you good?
not right now.
Well, you've read the book.
Just a couple of chapters.
I bet they're all the right ones.
You better watch out, baby. I might be a long shot.
What do you care? As long as I bet.
I don't.
That's good. I didn't think you'd mind.
Aren't you beginning to crowd the beachhead?
Don't be a sissy, Patsy. You can't live forever.
All right, Angel. It's time to wire the folks.
Mr. Novak, just wait until you know me better.
That's for me, I left a number.
It's your fault then.
Hello, Patsy!
What'd you find out, Jocko?
Not much. Nobody seems to care about the 6th race.
I care about it.
Well, that's because you killed one of the jockeys. The rest of the people have a more casual interest.
What do the odds run?
Oh, no heavy favorites. Thin Air and Sleepy Time Gal figured to be best at around 5 to 1.
What about Fleet Lady?
Down the line somewhere. I talked to one fellow who said she's a dog who couldn't beat a paralytic goose over 100 yards.
Yeah, what else?
That's all.
What do you mean that's all? Start digging, Jocko. We're not getting any place.
Not even at your end?
Huh?
I count on you to do better than that. Good night, lover.
On the way home, I bought the morning papers. There was no story on Jackie Gregg, no details, and most of the story was a statement by Hellman on Hellman. There was no mention of Fleet Lady, and at 1 o'clock in the morning, there was nothing I could do but roll into bed. I woke up about 9 and called Jocko. It was like sending a message out to the Farallones by Indian runner. He just muttered and said he'd meet me out at the track. Well, I had to have some more dope, so I called Ira Snow. He calls the races and bets on them. The way he does it, the horse is a real beast of burden. He was playing Elf when I got him on the phone.
Yeah,
Ira, this is Novak. What do you know about the Bonanza handicap?
it's a horse race.
Yeah, you're funny. What about the field? Are the horses any good?
For hamburgers, maybe. Nothing else.
How about Fleet Lady?
Eastern tread. Nobody knows.
Would she be worth a heavy plunge?
If you want to be a mark. What's this all about?
Ira, I'm in trouble. How about a fix? Could they run a ringer in on Fleet Lady?
It's been done before, but it ain't easy.
That's what I figured. How's Rudy Hauser on horses?
He ain't. He got burned a long time ago. He never bets.
Well, I think you're wrong.
Look, Novak, I know every guy in town that got the itch. Rudy Hauser? Nah.
You know a guy named Ronnie Stark?
Sure, he runs a book. Why?
Nothing. May see you at the track. I'm gonna make a bet.
Yeah, I'll tell the horses.
Well, that left me in a hole. If Ira was right, Rudy Hauser on Fleet Lady didn't make a bit of sense. I got out to the track around 2:30. Jocko was there, and Hellman was wandering around in the grandstand where they couldn't push him into the starting gate. Sybil Thornton waved from a box as I walked by to get a better shot at the starting line for the 6th. They were almost at the post when Jocko came back from the betting window.
Well, Patsy, I bet $2 on a horse called Scotch Victory. It seemed like a good omen.
Yeah.
I saw your friend Rudy Hauser at the window.
Huh?
He was pouring money down on the favorites to win.
Well, that's why the odds are going down on Thin Air and Sleepy Time Gal. Look at that board, will you?
Yes, Fleet Lady is going all the way up to 12 to 1.
Yeah, from 8 to 1. All the way up.
Maybe the word got around she's dead.
Yeah, that's the funny part. She's down there, see? Number 3 on the rail.
Yeah.
And not a peep out of anybody.
And with the winning, hot brother is going to the pump by 1 leg. Speaking on the right hand, Fleet Lady of the Human Horses is running third by 1 leg. On the outside, it's Thin Air and Old Soldier. Jumping into the clubhouse turn, it's hot brother by 2 legs. Sleepy Time Gal by a half leg. This lady is moving up on the outside. It's Thin Air, fourth by 1 leg. And Old Soldier down the left stretch. It's hot brother by 2 legs. Fleet Lady moving up on the outside. Is down second by 1 leg.
She runs well for a ghost.
Yeah.
Rudy Hauser better hurry or he won't see much.
What?
He better hurry. He left the track 10 minutes ago.
Huh? Are you
Yes.
sure, Jocko?
Yes, I heard him tell someone he had to make a phone call just before the betting closed.
Well, Jocko, you're a sweetheart.
Well, I like to think it's my spark.
Come on, let's get to that stable.
But the race isn't over.
It was over 5 minutes ago.
Well, how about my $2?
Come on, will you? There's only one person who won't try to fix a horse race. That's a horse. Well, I knew there was going to be trouble fast. The horses were just coming into the wire when I waved the helmet and started for the stable. When we got there, Sybil Thornton was clearing out like a fire sale.
I'm in a hurry, Patsy, darling. Let me by.
You made a bad play, Angel. Stick around.
Let me by, Patsy.
You heard him, lady. Stick around.
Thanks, copper. I'll take charge.
That's a big gun, Hauser.
I got a big beef. You let me drop 100 grand, Sybil.
Your idea, Rudy.
Not this way. You let me drop 100 grand because you ran Fleet Lady.
The program said Fleet Lady, and that's who ran.
I brought these odds down at the window. My other 80 looked bad on Fleet Lady. You didn't stay to watch her trail the field.
Right, I didn't stay. You lost your 100 grand. You killed the ringer.
You ran.
You were a smart big shot who was gonna sew up the race.
And you cost me 100 grand. All right, Copper. Move away from her. Over this way, Sybil.
No, don't let him do it, Patsy.
I want to see how tough you are.
Come on, Sybil. Let's you and me move against the stall.
Watch out, Hauser.
Get back into the horse. Get the horse and I like it. Trample it.
You grab him, it's your idea.
Get back.
He dead?
Yeah. He should have learned the first time. You can't beat the horses.
That's a bum joke, Novak.
Yeah, I guess it is.
Now that we're all here, who do we book for Jackie Gregg's murder?
I'll answer that, friend.
Who's this guy?
That's one you missed, Helmet Hellstar.
Hi, Novak. Well, what are you waiting for, Sybil? Tell the man you killed Jackie Gregg.
Had enough trouble today, Ronnie.
You got more coming. Well, you figured it out yet, Novak?
Hauser dumped his 80 grand on you.
That's right. That's a lot of spending money.
Wait a minute, Ronnie. I don't like this.
Oh, you'll get your half, baby. I'm gonna write out an IOU. When they book you for murder and the vote's in, you can't use it.
You wouldn't do a thing like that, Ronnie.
Dead girl can't spend 40 grand. She killed her guy, Copper, and tried to palm it off on Novak. I was there, so I'll testify.
Ronnie, you no good guy.
Don't be silly. I love justice. Now book her for murder, Copper. I want to tear up that IOU.
Well, Helmet finally worked it out. Started out as a fixed race. When they were all through, it was up to the horse. Rudy Hauser put the squeeze on Sybil for some dough. She offered to run a fast ringer in place of Fleet Lady so Hauser could pick up a bagful. Rudy just wanted to make sure, so she sent up one of his boys around to knock off Fleet Lady, only the guy killed a ringer instead. Well, that was a break for Sybil. She made a deal with a bookie named Ronnie Stark to take all of Hauser's bets and guarantee him that Fleet Lady couldn't win because she wasn't that good of a horse. Panned out that way. She let Hauser think that Fleet Lady was dead. He spent 20 grand at the window pushing up the odds on Fleet Lady, and that dumped another 80 on her to win. The moving van? Well, that was a phony story that Greg used to get me to scare Sybil. He wanted in on the deal. He went back to that stable that night and got in a beef and killed him. She had him out in the car. When I went back to make that phone call, she figured it was a good way to pass the buck. Hellman asked me only one question. Why would a nice, tame horse go crazy and trample a guy to death? Jocko had the answer. The horse that killed Hauser was a filly.
The American Broadcasting Company has just brought you the fourth of a new series, Pat Novak for Hire, starring Jack Webb. Pat Novak is produced and directed by William P. Russo and written by Dick Green. Jocko Madigan is played by Tudor Owen. Inspector Hellman is played by Raymond Burr. Music was composed and conducted by Basil Adlam. In our cast were Virginia Gregg, Toll Avery, Stacey Harris, Hugh Thomas, and Carlisle Bibbers. This program is being released to our servicemen and women overseas throughout the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Network. Be with us again next week when over most of these same ABC stations will bring you Pat Novak for Hire. This program came to you from Hollywood. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
Ladies and gentlemen, the ringing of that phone bell means mystery, adventure.
Nero Wolfe's office. Archie Goodwin speaking. Mr. Wolfe? Yeah, he's right here. Who's this?
Archie, hang up. Don't ask questions.
You have a what?
Archie, it's past your bedtime.
Well, I'm afraid, Mr. Wolfe, it's past his bedtime.
Your bedtime.
It's a client, boss.
That's what I was afraid of. Phooey.
Hello? Hello?
Well, why do you look so bewildered?
He's coming right over. He says he's got a date with murder.
Ladies and gentlemen, the detective genius who rates the knife and fork, the greatest tools ever invented by man, the ponderous, brilliant, and unpredictable Nero Wolfe. Created by Rex Stout and brought to you in a new series of adventures over this NBC network in the person of Mr. Sidney Greenstreet.
Tonight's story, The Case of the Calculated Risk, was as strange and baffling as any Nero Wolfe had to deal with. It started late one night when a big-shouldered man sporting a reddish beard and billing himself as Dave Caffrey pushed his way in, walked up to Nero Wolfe's desk, and rocked him with this opener.
Tomorrow morning, Mr. Wolfe, I'm going to kill a man.
I beg your pardon, sir.
I'm going to kill a man with these two hands.
I've been told strange things across this desk, Mr. Caffrey. This is the first time a murderer has confided his intention to me in advance. The man you speak of...
I'm not telling you his name. I'm not telling you where I'm going to meet him. This session tomorrow is going to be private and personal. But if anything happens to me between now and then, I want you to take over.
Mr. Caffrey, do you seriously think I could assist you in a matter of private vengeance?
That's not what I'm asking. This guy deserves to die. I plan to kill him with these two hands. Me, myself. But if I slip up, if he gets me first, I want you to see if justice is done.
But I assure you, sir...
I told you this guy deserves to die. And I'm going to tell you why. Years ago, down south, there were 3 men in business together. Partners. Me and 2 others.
Your notebook, Archie, if Mr. Caffrey doesn't mind.
You're wasting your time, Wolfe. The names I'll use will be phony. I won't give you anything you can check back on.
We'll take that chance, sir. Please proceed.
It happened in a town about 40 miles from the place where we had our business. We were going there to collect some money, the 3 of us, Carl, Mitch, and me, Dave Caffrey. And all we collected was bad news. So bad that Carl hadn't even given our right names at the hotel. Said he was scared some of our creditors would come hitting up on us for what we owed them. The 3 of us had some drinks and we'd been pacing around for nearly an hour. I can still remember the way Mitch stood and looked up at me, then up at Carl. Carl suddenly pulled to a stop and came out with this idea of his.
So, Dave, we got 6,000 cash on hand. You counted it, Mitch.
Didn't we make it 62-40, Carl?
Well, whichever. We've got this 6,000 plus some slow accounts receivables against debts of 38,000. With 3 of us trying to live from the business, we ain't got a chance.
Well, we ain't got much of one, Carl.
It's hopeless, Dave, with 2 partners, though.
2 partners? You reckon on pulling out, Carl?
I say we cut cards for it, Mitch. Low man drops out.
Break up the partnership? After sticking together all these years?
Now, wait a minute, Dave, wait a minute. Maybe Carl's right. Maybe this could work. Carl, you mean low man drops out clean? Right now?
Right now, Mitch. The other 2 to take over assets and debts and see if they can get this thing back in the black.
Okay, Carl. Get the cards out.
Dave?
Well, if that's what you guys want.
Okay, then. Here's a new deck. Shuffle them, Mitch.
All shuffled.
Cut them, Dave. Go ahead, Mitch. You get first pick. Spread them if you like.
Here goes. 6. Your turn, Dave.
Okay. 9 of clubs.
Lucky guy, Dave. That puts you in whatever Carl pulls.
Now pull it fast. There she is.
An ace.
Sorry, Mitch. That leaves you elected.
Well, Mitch, I'm sorry too. I guess we all had a fair whack at it, but...
Hey, wait a minute. Let me see that ace again, Carl.
Easy, Mitch. I said I was sorry, but...
Look, Dave.
Yeah, what is it, Mitch?
All the aces are marked. Carl, I'm going to cram this deck right down your crooked throat.
Look out, Mitch! He's got a 9! Carl!
All right. I've cut him for keeps.
kill Mitch, and was more.
Shut up, Dave. We're both in a knot now. Come on, let's get out of here.
Now what, Carl?
Look, Dave, this is where we split up. Two men together, easy to trace. You head one way, I'll go the other.
But to do it, I got no money.
Here, I'll split up the 6,000. This is your half. Here, stick the envelope in your pocket. Now grab that print. That's it. I'll catch the next one going the other way. Now get going, Dave.
And that's how it was, Mr. Wolfe. It all happened so fast that
This man you call Carl, he would seem to be one of the world's choice creatures, Mr. Caffrey.
I thought to look at that envelope he gave me, I found $40 and a few folds of wrapping paper in it. I was mad enough to... Well, I got off the freight and intended to go back, but then I picked up a paper.
And read all about the murder of your friend Mitch, with a statement that Carl had accused you of the crime, and that the police believed him in view of your escape.
That's it.
Pass a Goldman, not at all original.
Well, I was young then and stupid. And I'd had those drinks to start with.
And you spent the intervening years hunting down the man Carl, am I correct?
Yeah. I tracked the country from east to west, from north to south. Tracked him for years searching for him. And yesterday, I located him. He's a big wheel these days up on that 37th floor of his. But tomorrow...
Yes, Mr. Caffrey, the 37th floor of...
Never mind what building.
Now, Caffrey.
Now, wait a minute, Caffrey. If you expect Mr. Wolfe to help you...
I don't want him to help me. I'll help myself. But if I slip up, I know Wolfe's reputation well enough to know that he'll never rest until this rotten, chiseling murderer is sitting in the chair. That's why I've come here. Just to provide a backstop in case my dear friend of long ago manages to get the best of me.
How will we know?
You see this envelope? Read what it says.
Nero Wolfe, 601 West 35th Street, New York. Delivered to him in case of my death.
That's right. And this envelope is $500. Nearly all I've got in the world. Along with it, the full details on that night. Real names, dates, the proof you'll need in case I don't finish it up.
Go on.
Tonight, Mr. Wolfe, I'm going to give this envelope to the manager of the hotel where I'm staying. I'm calling on, well, Carl, tomorrow at noon, right after his secretary goes to lunch. If I'm not back in my hotel by 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, the hotel manager will deliver this envelope to you. Is that clear?
Perfectly. But you don't think I'm going to allow you to go through this wild plan, do you?
You can't stop me. And don't have Goodwin follow me. I'd lose him in 2 lots. Good night.
Shall I try to tail him, Mr. Wolfe?
It's no use, Archie. Get Inspector Kramer on the phone at once. I want the police to help us head off this murder. Nero Wolfe speaking.
It's Archie. I'm calling from the morgue.
And?
They found Caffrey's body in the subway washroom, mugged and stabbed. Wallet's gone, pockets cleaned out, and no envelope.
And just 2 hours ago he was here. No envelope, eh?
Gone.
Witnesses?
Not so far. Homicide's calling it straight mugging and robbery.
As it well might look, except
for a guy named Carl. How much do I tell Kramer?
all of it. Ask Mr. Kramer to start queries throughout the South on the original killing.
The original killing? Look.
It's our best chance of getting a description of the man called Carl. The original killing and the partnership. Starting from, say, 8 years ago and working back to the middle 20s. Tell him to concentrate on towns and railway lines.
Putting out pictures of Caffrey.
Pictures and dentistry. Fingerprints to Washington. Mr. Kramer will know.
And if I come across a haystack, do I keep my eye out for needles?
We're going to find Carl, Archie. We're going to find him if it takes from now until doomsday.
Mr. Wolfe, let's face it. We're licked.
Licked, Archie.
3 days now. We found Caffrey's hotel here in New York. No traceable phone calls. Not a witness has turned up on that subway washroom party. And Kramer says he's getting nowhere with all those answers from the Southland.
The original story is bound to come slowly, Archie. We're asking a check on the unsolved killings of a dozen states over a 20-year period.
And what now?
You start trudging, Archie.
Trudging?
Through office buildings, through 37 floors of many office buildings. You keep trudging until we find him.
Oh, now wait a minute, Mr. Wolfe. This is a big city, remember? I might have to go through hundreds of buildings.
This morning, Archie, the Municipal Reference Library informed me there are exactly 34 buildings of 37 floors or higher in Manhattan. Now, when you rule out the United Nations building, hotels...
Okay, maybe not so many 37 floors, but lots of offices per floor, maybe 40 or 50. Call it 30 times 40, and you've still got 1,200 to start with. And you don't know what kind of business is, you don't know what Carl's real name is, and you don't even know what he looks like. There could be 4,000 men like him.
4,000 affluent men, Archie?
Yeah, well, all right. Caffrey said he was in the chips, though. You know, for a guy who's been bumming around, that could mean anything from 10 grand a year up. Wait a minute, that cuts your field to 1,000.
1,000 tall men?
Tall? I've been over these notes. Caffrey didn't say he was tall.
As plainly as you could ask. Caffrey was almost your height, but he said, Mitch stood and looked at me. And then he looked up at Carl. Up, Archie. That makes Carl your height or taller.
Yeah. Well, maybe Caffrey and Mitch were sitting down, and Carl was...
Godfrey told us the three were standing at the time. Check your notes, Archie. I've studied them.
Okay. Well, maybe that does cut it down some. But it's still a lot of citizens to start checking for a southern accent.
Don't rely on accent, Archie. Carl has had many years to lose any accent he might have had.
Yeah, that's true.
And so we narrow it. A man almost surely tall. A man not using the name he was born with. A man with an unexplained gap in his past.
Well, I ought to be able to reach right out and tap him.
You go skeptical again, Archie.
Well, it's still a pretty big haystack.
Well, let's see if we can trim it some more. On these building lists I've been going over, I ruled out for now the members requiring lengthy formal training. Medical men, lawyers, scientists of most kind.
Yeah, that's chopping it down, I'll admit that.
I'll have further eliminations as we get into it. And I'm putting Saul Pinzer on a second list this afternoon. Some of the credit references I'll handle by phone.
So I start trudging, huh?
You start trudging. And remember, Archie, since you'll probably be operating through secretaries, you're looking for a murderer named Carl, not for a new set of telephone numbers to brighten your winter.
Tall? I don't know what you're peddling, Goodwin, but if my boss put on elevator shoes and stood on a box, he'd still be somewhere down around my necktie. If he stood on his money, though, we'd need a helicopter to get up near his shoelaces.
Hello, Miss Tunis. Do you mind if I sit down?
Why, of course not, Mr. Goodwin.
Oh, thanks. You know, I've been in 12 offices on this floor, and you're the first girl who's seen the importance of this survey, first crack out of the box.
Well, I'm sort of new here, and I try to pay attention, but...
Oh, you're not just beautiful. You've got a head on you. Is Mr. McLean in?
He's at lunch right now.
Lunch? Oh, that reminds me. Know any good restaurants up this way?
Well, I was just going to the downstairs drugstore myself, but I wouldn't say it's...
Well, come on. Put your bonnet on and let's skip the drugstore. This meal is on the Executive Resources Survey. Here you are, Mr. Wolfe. The boil down.
Tinsley, McLean, Fernandez, Tesreau, and Kaplan. All five of them tall, all five a little misty in the background. You and Saul have done well, Archie. Satisfactory. But I'm crossing off Fernandez and Kaplan.
Why?
The Credit Bureau report clears Fernandez, and Kaplan was on a special war job. The FBI x-rayed his record twice.
Leaving J.P. Tinsley, Carson McLean, and Philip Tesreau, huh?
I would like to see all three of them here, Archie. Get them here one way or another. And so you do admit that Tinsley isn't your real name.
Mr. Wolfe, are you a blackmailer or what?
I'm a licensed private investigator, sir. Any disclosure you make will be kept in confidence. provided it doesn't touch on the case I'm engaged upon.
You haven't said what that case is.
I don't intend to. If you prefer to explain this mysterious gap in your background to the district attorney, perhaps.
Well, I'm using the name Tinsley because I've got an undivorced first wife out on the coast. We broke up 20 years ago, but she said she'd see to it that I never married again. If she knew where I was today, well, I don't say I'm a saint, but she's a vindictive woman.
I see. May I have names, dates, and places starting 1924?
I can't quite understand your interest, Mr. Wolfe.
It's rather complicated, to put it briefly, Mr. McLean. I'm working on the interests of a client. Our people have found this puzzling gap in your background, and I'd like to appreciate such clarification as you may be able to supply.
But I told your Mr. Goodwin I was raised and educated in the Orient. Till 32, I was in business with my father in China.
Where you say your father died.
Died, yes. With the Depression, I returned to New York, started this importing business in a small way, weathered through the early 30s, and I think my banker can assure you of my standing today.
They have done so. Carson McLean and Company has an excellent credit rating.
And thank you, Mr. Wolfe.
To switch somewhat abruptly, Mr. McLean, would you happen to remember how you spent the evening of the 19th?
This month?
Of this month?
Well, I can hardly remember offhand. You say the 19th. Would that have been a Tuesday?
Yes, it was a Tuesday.
Oh, well, that simplifies it. I'm nearly always at the office on Tuesday nights, dictating the revisions in our weekly wholesalers lists. Let's see. Yes, I was there on the 19th. It was a trade center. Miss Tunis and I worked till just after midnight.
Miss Helen Tunis, the secretary Mr. Goodwin spoke of.
Yes, she's been with me for 2 or 3 months now.
Miss Tunis can confirm this dictation on the night of the 19th.
Of course. Mr. Wolfe, your manner is so persuasive that I scarcely realized. You're asking some extraordinarily searching questions. May I ask, why in the world...
If you're in doubt of me, Mr. McLean, my prying is nearly concluded. You say you were in China until 1932. Mr. Tesreau, I'll be brutally frank. We know that your name is not Tesreau, and we know you served a prison term from 1934 to 1938 for arson. I'd like some straight answers.
I didn't say I wouldn't answer your questions.
The past can remain your own, provided...
Now, look, Mr. Wolfe, I've been going straight for 12 years, and this business of mine is on the level. Now, this is a shakedown.
I'm asking where you were on the night of the 19th.
And I'm telling you, I stayed in town. I ate alone. I went to a movie. I caught the 11:35 for Stanford, and that's all there is to it.
You're denying you were ever in business in the South.
I was born in the South, but I've been back there since I was a kid.
What about the arson?
I put in 4 years squaring for that mistake.
Let's start again, Mr. Tesreau. You say you were in Cincinnati in 1931.
Okay, Mr. Wolfe. 3 candidates and we're still on the 1-yard line. Our 1-yard line. Tesreau, McLean, Tinsley. No, rule out McLean. He gave references enough for those years in China. And with Helen Tunis, he's got the one firm alibi we've laid onto. Caffrey was killed before midnight.
With conditions as they are in the Far East, Archie, it would be weeks before cables came back on McLean's claims.
Claims? You figure the whole Chinese background's a fake?
I want you to see Miss Tunis again, Archie, taking all precautions for her safety, and this is one time I give you permission to ply her with all the attentions you can contrive.
Are we far enough to pull tails on any of these 3?
I've got Saul on Tesreau. Ori will take Tinsley and Fred will tail McLean. Pictures of the 3 have gone to Mr. Kramer for circulation in the South.
No answer yet from the coast on Tinsley.
Not yet. For the moment, Archie, you'll concentrate on Helen Tunis.
Helen, I've got to see you tonight.
I'd love to, Archie, but...
Now look, Helen, I phoned you to come out in the corridor this way because I didn't want McLean to know we're talking. Do you still say that you got that new mink coat on your own money?
Mr. Goodwin, I don't know what right you have to...
Helen, if you get 5 guys to buy you stuff, it's your business. But
Mr. McLean said his wife might send detectives around. Well, you can go right back to your old Mrs. McLean and tell her that
easy, Helen, easy.
He was dictating to me.
You know, baby, the harder you lie, the prettier you look. But if this is a fake alibi and you keep propping it up, you're going to find yourself in trouble. Bad trouble. Now, how about it? Do I see you at your apartment tonight, or would you rather come down with me to Nero Wolfe's right now?
Archie, all right. I can't go with you right now, and I've got a dinner date with my aunt tonight that I can't break. But I'll try to be back at my apartment by 11.
Archie! Nero Wolfe speaking.
It's Archie, Mr. Wolfe. I'm at Helen Tunis's apartment.
Well,
I could cut my throat for not making her come with me this afternoon.
trouble?
Not for her anymore, poor kid. I got here 3 minutes ago and found her strangled. It happened not more than half an hour ago.
McLean.
Wasn't Fred tailing McLean?
McLean lost him. I should have left you on McLean, Archie.
Well, we're both wrong. What do you want me to do?
Phone the police immediately.
This is 32nd Street. I'm just 3 blocks in the jump from the office. Why don't I come back and call from there?
Come back then. I'll phone Mr. Kramer myself.
Mr. Wolfe, I'm still kicking myself.
Look out, Archie!
It's too late, Mr. Wolfe. Keep coming right in, Goodwin, with your hands up. No, I wouldn't try that.
McLean.
And keep your hand out of that desk drawer, Wolfe.
This time you're too late, Mr. McLean. My hand is in the drawer, and I think I'll leave it there.
You don't think I'd shoot?
I'm sure you would, but you've got 2 of us to cover now. No, Archie, don't try to draw yet.
How'd you get in here, McLean?
He surprised me after making his way through the area way below. And of course it had to be Fritz's night out.
I caught your fat friend just 2 seconds before he could get in his call to the police, Goodwin. I overheard his talk with you from the hallway.
My apologies for not crying out sooner, Archie.
Get your hand out of that drawer. Pull it out without the gun, Wolfe, or I'll let you have it now.
I refuse to, Mr. McLean. Seems obvious that you mean to kill us in any case.
Yeah, I'm afraid that's true, Wolfe. When you called me here and Goodwin starts making dates with Helen Tunis.
Poor kid. I told her not to talk to you.
She didn't, Goodwin. I've been scared of you and Wolfe since I followed Colby here that night.
Colby?
You knew him as Caffrey. I caught up with him afterward in that subway washroom. No, keep that hand up and watch that gun of yours, Wolfe. When I found that envelope on him and I read the letter to you contained in it, I knew he hadn't spilled the whole South Carolina story.
South Carolina. Would the original knifing have taken place anywhere near Hampton or Jasper counties?
Hampton County. Our business was over the line in Georgia. Doesn't matter now.
Pity, Archie. We learned this afternoon that we were growing warm on South Carolina. Mr. McLean, may I ask you what you hope to achieve by this insane project of disposing of Mr. Goodwin and myself?
I'm buying time, Wolfe. There's $90,000 in small bills in that bag there, plus a plane ticket to Buenos Aires. I've got a silencer on this gun. If you two aren't found until tomorrow morning, I'll be out of the country before they start looking for me.
You don't think the police will put out an alarm for you when they find the body of Helen Tunis?
Goodman left it to you to report that, remember?
Let's remind ourselves to be prompter on reporting deaths, Archie.
Starting with our own, Mr. Wolfe?
Glad you could take it that way, Goodwin.
You actually think you can knock the 2 of us off?
I'm about to find out, Goodwin.
One moment, Mr. McLean. You've never been a real gambler. You know that. With marked cards, of course, but you're not the man to face a sure loss now.
A sure
The loss of your life within seconds after you try to pull that trigger.
I told you I had a silencer. You think anyone will hear the shots?
There'll be more shots than you can count on. My hand's on a pistol now in this drawer, and Mr. Goodwin has a .38 in his shoulder holster.
You can't shoot through the desk, and Goodwin's won't get a chance to draw.
You're an intelligent man, Mr. McLean. Vicious, but intelligent. May I describe the certainty of your immediate death if you don't throw that pistol on the desk and give yourself up?
Well, there are 2 of you, I know that.
Mr. McLean, you must be aware that in actual fact, exceedingly few men are killed instantly by a single shot. even from a pistol of heavy caliber. The one you hold is a .32.
And it's a .45 in that drawer, McLean.
I assure you, Mr. McLean, that neither of us will surrender the weapons we have. Should you start shooting, we'll both do our best to draw and keep firing until you're dead.
You're stalled. What have I got to lose by trying for you both now?
Very well, I'll correct that. The loss of some 6 or 8 weeks of your life, possibly months. Whatever the time necessary to bring you to trial, convict you, and execute you for the murders you've committed.
Suppose I cancel you out and then take my chances with Goodwin.
A better choice, but still a dubious one. I am fat, exceedingly fat, and for perhaps the first time in my life, I am thoroughly grateful for that. My bulk affects the calculation, Mr. McLean.
McLean, you could pull off all 7 shots and still not hit Mr. Wolfe where it counts. If you have to start, you better start on me.
You exaggerate, Archie, and I thank you for the gallantry of it. No, it's quite likely that with 2 or 3 shots, Mr. McLean might well dispose of me. But not with your first shot, Mr. McLean. And we'll not permit you many more than your first.
Look, if I promise to do no more than tie you two up and give me my head start, you'll toss in your guns?
Of course not. Do I speak for us both, Archie?
Check. I say let's start it now.
Wolfe, if I give you half of what's in that bag, would you forget these admissions I made and help on my defense?
I've told you I refuse to bargain. I think that I shall count to 5. If your weapon hasn't been tossed on the desk by then, I'll do my best to get my pistol into action. Are you in accord, Archie?
Start counting.
Wait a minute, Mr. Wolfe.
1.
If I trade half that bag for no shooting and 1 hour's start, no tying up, just your promise.
2.
All that bag for a half-hour start, 9 to 1,000.
3. Are you ready, Archie?
All set, sir. Except if you're the one who walks out of this, call up every number in my little red book, huh? And tell each girl I was thinking of her just before you got to 5.
Agreed. I resume. 4.
Okay, you win.
Oh, my sweet Susan, it worked. It worked.
A commendable choice, Mr. McLean. For us, at least. You see, I'm afraid I forgot to mention one slight factor that might have operated in your favor.
What's that, sir?
I must confess, Archie, that my .45 is in the upstairs den where I took it to oil it last night.
Holy cow! You didn't have a gun?
You dirty!
Take it easy, McLean. I've really got one. By the way, Mr. Wolfe, the signal's off on those women. When my heart gets back down out of my throat, I'll call them myself.
I'll trouble you for a beer first, Archie. And then if you'll be good enough to phone Inspector Kramer, you can bid him to pick up his triple murder. The one-time cutter of cards. Fortunately for us, who's never been a real gambler.
You have been listening to The New Adventures of Nero Wolfe, starring Sidney Greenstreet. Tonight's transcribed story was based on the characters created by Rex Stout. This is an Edward Fadiman program, produced and directed by J. Donald Wilson. In the cast were Gerald Moore as Archie Goodwin and Lorraine Carter, Bill Johnstone, Howard McNear, Herb Butterfield, and Vic Rodman. Next week at the same time, Nero Wolfe and Archie will bring you The Case of the Phantom Finger. Don Stanley speaking. 3 chimes mean good times on NBC.
Thank you so much for coming to our show today and celebrating a world, an underworld of scourge and tyranny and crime and punishment with detectives hard and soft boiled. We hope that you had a great time, and please make sure that you join us for our next show, which is Sunday, 2 o'clock, right here at the Oak Park Arms on March 15th, where we will be showing 2 episodes of Jack Benny and Fred Allen as they find out what it's like to do each other's show. That's right, we'll be doing our show called Trading Places. That's March 15th on Sunday. at 2 o'clock right here at the Oak Park Arms. You can also visit our website at www.ttdyradio.com. That's TTDY Radio for those thrilling days of yesteryear. And now, today's cast for our today's show, today's cast who came in from the cold and featured John Corona as Jackie Gregg, Ronnie Stark, and Phil Tesler. Matt Gilbert as Pat Novak, J.P. Tinsley, and the announcer. John Gingle as Rudy Hauser, Nasty Cop, and Carson McLean. John Gould as Inspector Hellman and Nero Wolfe. Julie Rogers-Bacor as Sybil Thornton and Helen Tunis. Lars Timpa as Jocko Madigan and Dave Caffery. With the mad piano stylings of Peter Storms on piano. And what radio show would be complete without the synchronous sound effects, music, and stylings of Pam Turlo, John Corona, and myself. And also, I am your producer. Today's show was directed by Craig Gustafson. And I'm your producer, Ben Dooley, who also played the announcer, and Archie Goodwin. You, the audience, for coming to see our show and helping it come to alive, and also for living those thrilling days of yesteryear so that we could bring them back to you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. We have coffee and juice and cookies out in the lobby, outdoors, and just turn to your right. Please enjoy, have a fun talking about old-time radio or whatever else seems to be the proper thing. We'll see you on March 15th.